In this lesson we are going to talk about the trace viewer. This is a GUI tool offered by Playwright that you can use to debug your tests. What this will do, it will record all the actions performed in your test, and it will store it into a zip file that you can later um, use to investigate all the actions that were performed in your test. Now, to enable this, you would need to add something to your context, and we have here an example of how we can record the trace. So basically you have to initialize this new tracing start options. So you need to call tracing, then start, then instantiate these start options for tracing, and here you'll set a few properties such as take screenshots, snapshots, and sources. Now, if you remember from our Playwright Inspector lesson, you will need to specify these sources as environment variables in order for this to actually work. If you don't have them set, and Playwright will not find that environment variable in your system, it will actually throw an error. So let's test this out. I'm going to copy this line of code. I'm going to our Playwright runner, and over here where I have my context, my browser context, I'm going to add this tracing code. Now we also need to stop tracing at some point, and I'm going to do this after my test, before I close my context. And I need to add tracing stop options, and here I need to specify the path where I'm going to store the traces. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. Again, I'm going to invoke my browser context, tracing stop, import the paths class, and this will store it to a trace.zip file. Okay, let's give this a try. So I'm going to run my test, and my expectation is that after everything has finished, I will have a zip file that is stored in the root of my repository. Okay, I'm going to sign in now. Okay, so the test has finished successfully. You can see that I have this trace zip file over here. And remember that we already had set the environment variables for our source code over here. Without this, it will throw an error. So I have this zip file. How do I actually interact with it? Well, if I go in my terminal, you need to be relative to your POM file. Let's see where we are. Okay, so the POM file is over here. And to open it, I need to execute this command over here, this maven command. I need to specify the name of the zip file, show trace. So since I'm following this example, this should work. My file is called tracezip. It's next to the POM file, so everything should work fine. And I'm going to open this GUI tool from Playwright. Perfect. So let's make this a bit bigger. You can see over here each action that was performed in my test. If I click, let's say, this one, you'll be able to see over here the call that was made, how much it took, the log that it has provided. So in this case, I'm clicking on the account button, and you can see this if I go to, so you can see it here visually, that the account element is marked with a red dot. You can see I have three states. I have the action, how it looked before, how it looked after the action. Over here we have the source code that was loaded from the environment variable, and you can see the action in my code highlighted over here. You can also see the network calls that were made behind the scenes, the console for the browser, and you can also navigate through all the snapshots that were created over here. So this is a very useful way of debugging your test. You can store these files after each run, and you can use them to see if you had any errors and deal with them afterwards. This trace viewer provides a lot of very valuable information, and you should definitely use it whenever you run your tests, but be sure to only store your tests only if they actually fail. Otherwise, it will store a lot of information that you might not need. So there's no need to store them if your tests actually pass.